So I'm sure you've seen many commercials talking about low T, right? Low testosterone. And guys, in the 30s and 40s start getting really scared because they're like, oh my gosh, I lose 1% for every year after I turn 30, right? Well, listen, I wouldn't get too uptight yet. Well, I'll explain to you why it doesn't relate that way to muscle building, and that it couldn't be further from the truth. So, first of all, a normal level of testosterone, right? It's between 300 and 1,000. That's the normal level, okay? That's what they call physiological level. That's what a normal man would have. And there's been studies done showing that guys in the lower end, 400-ish, 400-ish, and guys in 7, 8-ish, and like I say, in that normal range, put on the same training, the same diet, and they built about the same amount of muscle, okay? So it doesn't equate these small percentages to how much muscle you build. So for instance, going from like 500 to 650 is not going to be that big a jump, and it's not going to really produce any extra muscle gains, okay? So that's why a lot of these muscle builder, testosterone booster stuff don't really work. It may boost your testosterone a little bit. It may give you a little better libido, okay? I'm not saying it won't. But it's not going to give you these super physiological amounts of testosterone that's going to give you all this muscle, okay? It's just not going to work that way. And basically it's because testosterone and muscle building, hypertrophy, when you adding muscle to your body, it doesn't work in a linear curve like everyone thinks it does. They think right down here is say 300, and up here is 2,000, or well, I shouldn't say 2,000 because that's beyond normal. About like 1,000, right? They think that you just progressively build muscle like that. And it doesn't work that way, okay? It kind of works like 300, 400, 500, 600, right? Up on up. And then you got to get into the multi-thousands to where it actually shoots up and it gives you those steroid gains, right? Testosterone gains, super testosterone gains. So it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't work that way. So doing these little things like they tell you, adding a little bit of extra fat in your diet, or doing a lot of heavy squats or something like that's going to boost your testosterone. Well, in the overall picture, it's not really going to improve your testosterone to the point to where it may increase a little bit, yes, and for short periods of time, but it's not going to result into major gains. Okay, that's what I'm getting down to. Okay, so basically, like they say, the normal ways to boost it a little bit again is not having as much adipose tissue, fat tissue. Having an excess fat can do that. Lack of sleep is a big one. Okay, we'll reduce that, and having a crappy diet. Like I say, for younger guys, it seems to be they doing way too much training, way too much work. Going to do CrossFit, and then they go work out, and then they do this. They just run their body down, so it brings their levels down. Not get enough sleep because they like to party all the time and drink a bunch of booze. So that's for young guys, usually their problem if they have low T. And guys that are older, it seems to be kind of the opposite. They don't work out enough, they don't train enough, they don't keep the fat down. A lot of times they have sleep apnea. They're not getting a good enough sleep. Okay, so that's basically it. Okay, in a nutshell, it doesn't work. Like I say, it doesn't work in a linear aspect where you think just adding a little bit of testosterone is gonna result into a bunch of gains. So the guys that are in their 30s and 40s, don't be worried about that. I mean, even 50s, the 1% doesn't equate to that much. I put my best amount of muscle mass in my mid-30s, okay? And that's because of dieting correctly, training correctly. So, you know what I mean? And of course, my course, it was much higher when I was in my teens, right? 18 to 22 or whatever. But I put most of my mass on when I was in my 30s. So I'm telling you, it doesn't equate equally like that. So for you guys that are that are in their 30s or 40s or 50s, thinking that you can't put on any mass, or it's all over because of that, you couldn't be further from the truth. So hopefully that clears up a little bit about testosterone. I've done a lot of research on this. Trust me, a lot of research. And if you got any questions on this, go ahead and leave me an email at carlhagenbb@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you.